Howdy everyone, welcome to another episode of George Reviews. And in this episode we'll be discussing The Green Knight, written and directed by David Lowery, starring Dave Patel, Alicia Vikander, and Joel Edgerton. So The Green Knight is the new film by David Lowery. You might know him from A Ghost Story, a film that I thought was, had its good points and bad points. But overall, I thought it was an interesting experience of a film. It was also distributed by A24 as well as this, The Green Knight. And this was a film that actually had a trailer back in 2020, a year ago, I should say. Not back in 2020, but you know what I mean. So, trailer came out in 2020, and we all thought it was going to come out last year, and it was very interesting, to say the least. I was very intrigued. But, of course, the pandemic happened, and, of course, being an A24, a very small film, and not like a Hereditary or Midsummer or Lighthouse, it was kind of buried and delayed, as well as the likes of Saint Maud, another film from A24 that I also discussed on this channel. Check out that review. Needless to say, I've been anticipating The Green Knight for a while. I haven't really been following too many of the other trailers. I saw that one trailer once, and that was enough. That's kind of my new rule. I'm not overwatching trailers. Trailers are kind of oversaturized in terms of how many trailers are made for said film. Especially a film like The Green Knight, it's really good to go into it blind if you want a really genuine experience to it. I don't know what the other trailers are like, prior to this review, and so I wanted to go in as blind as possible, and I'm really glad I did. So The Green Knight is based on Sir Gawain and The Green Knight, kind of an epic verse poem written back a very long time ago, I'm sure, and I've never read it. I am not too familiar with Sir Gawain, or Gawain as he's pronounced in the film, though I prefer Gawain, so I'm just going to pronounce it Sir Gawain. Dave Patel plays Sir Gawain, a man who has ambition to become a knight and be part of the round table, so to speak. The film keeps you shrouded in mystery for the most part, and that's something I definitely appreciated about The Green Knight. So Sir Gawain is put up to the task to go on this quest/adventure to face off with the Green Knight. And it is an adventure, not adventure in the action-y sense, but more so along the lines of a quest that is both mysterious and existential for Sir Gawain. And that's kind of the basis of it. That's the basic premise of the film. It's really hard to kind of pinpoint what the film is exactly about, though it does follow a linear path. As going through these levels of exploring different environments and encountering different interesting characters, full of existential dread and suspense. It even kind of borderlines on being a horror film at times, which was really interesting. It has all these different aspects of adventure, of fantasy, of horror, and drama, and it kind of just all wraps around in a very kind of surreal, very visual, very captivating cinematic experience, which is something I really appreciate about the film, though I wasn't really sure where it was taking me, but I was along for the ride. I think that's the best advice I can give for one going in blind into The Green Knight. Now, I don't know too much about the source material. I just know Sir Gawain as he's depicted in different films and different Arthurian legends. I think that's Arthurian, whatever. But I am a big fan of the King Arthur myth. I know the basics of the myth, Sword and Stone, Lady in the Lake, half-sister Morgana as a bastard child Mordred, there's a big battle, Lancelot and Guinevere. I'm aware of the basic surface level story of King Arthur, and I've always been a fan ever since I was a kid. Such films as Monty Python and the Holy Grail, though that's not totally accurate to the myth. You also got Excalibur, which is one of my personal favorite films depicting the Arthur legends. And to a lesser extent, you have other films like the musical Camelot and First Night, which is a film I would not recommend, though I feel like I should mention as sort of my background of my knowledge of King Arthur. And Sir Gawain kind of pops up here and there. He's kind of an oath. He's a kind of drunken oath kind of fool, kind of not really like a comic relief. I've never seen a film depicting Sir Gawain at this sort of level, something that's centered around him. And so I wasn't really sure what to expect on this journey, though Dave Patel does a really great job with the character of Sir Gawain. He is definitely a drunken oath when we first meet him, and he is someone who is craving some kind of adventure and aspiring to some sort of greatness, which is something that kind of comes up. There's kind of an aspect spoken by one of his love interests near the beginning of the film, asking him why he is going on this quest to seek out greatness when he is so full of goodness. I thought that was a really interesting kind of parallel between greatness and goodness. That definitely kind of goes around the film and really sets up an interesting dilemma for Sir Gawain in a lot of ways. Is he meant for greatness? Is he really a great knight, or is he just a mere mortal? And how he's going to kind of deal with that, and how he's going to kind of go through this kind of maze of existentialism and spirituality in a way. I really feel like that this has aspects of a very spiritual film, something that how Sir Gawain is going to identify himself, what kind of identity he's going to spark within himself. And he's really not really sure of himself. He's very non-confident. He's somewhat insecure in a few moments of the film when he's addressing himself to people. He doesn't really address himself as a knight, but other people address him as a knight, which I thought was a really interesting aspect. But like I said, this film is really shrouded in a lot of mystery, and it was kind of difficult for me to kind of tell what was kind of going on linearly or in sort of the plot. Not really sure who characters really were, though you get a sense that you have Arthur and Guinevere kind of in a smaller role. You have really great supporting performances by Joel Edgerton and Alicia Vikander. They kind of pop up in the film a little bit. I know they're kind of listed on the main bill as kind of the main cast, but they appear very little within the film. And this film has a lot of interesting imagery and symbolism. It was kind of hard for me to pinpoint what symbolizes what, or what meaning this has for the overall film. It's definitely something I'd love to revisit at some point and kind of go through the visuals and see what kind of meaning they have, even if it's just my own interpretation. I really feel this film begs to be interpreted, which isn't a bad thing at all. I think it is really interesting when a film just kind of opens up and doesn't explain a lot of exposition and just kind of gives you everything visually, and you have to kind of decipher what certain things mean for yourself. Though I'm sure I'd get a lot more appreciation by reading the poem of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, but you shouldn't have to read a poem or the source material to enjoy the film. Now, the film is very slow paced. That's going to turn some people off. It's very methodical. It's very meditative. It does follow a quest, and it does follow kind of a sense of adventure, but it's not very action packed. It's not fast paced. You have to really go through it with Sir Gawain. It takes a lot of time to set itself up, which I do appreciate. You get to spend a lot of time with Sir Gawain, which I really liked. And you kind of get to know him and his motivations for wanting to do this. He wants to become a knight. He wants to be a knight. And this is kind of his chance to prove himself by facing off with the Green Knight, which seems to prophesize that he is going to have to sacrifice himself in this face-off with the Green Knight. And there's a lot of things, a lot of objects that kind of symbolize things that I didn't quite get, that went over my head. So there are still a lot of things I'm somewhat confused on, and somewhat that didn't really were communicated very clearly. But that is definitely something I do appreciate with a film like The Green Knight, something that's kind of meditative, that you kind of have to digest and sit with. I love a lot of films like that beg to be interpreted. But still, I feel like even with the 2 hour plus running time, it could have explored more of these things, what these things could mean, but they are presented very visually. If you like the story of the legend of King Arthur, but wanted to know more about Sir Gawain, I think this is a really great film I would recommend. If you don't mind slow methodical pacing, if you enjoy kind of a spiritual existential journey through these different aspects that kind of reveal the character of Sir Gawain, I would definitely recommend this film. Though not all the points are communicated very clearly, and it's going to take some time to really digest and kind of examine and analyze on multiple viewings, which I have no problem with. It's definitely a film I'd probably buy on 4K Blu-ray. I was very captivated by it visually. The cinematography is amazing. The soundtrack has some interesting choices, some electronica and traditional strings mixed in. You can also tell the budget of this film was very low, lower than your average kind of medieval epic, which I thought was great as well. I know A24 films distributed by them, they don't usually have the biggest budgets, and I think they do a lot with the budget. And I know David Lowery got a lot of inspirations from different fantasy films like The Dark Crystal, and he got a lot of inspiration from Bram Stoker's Dracula, a film I just recently experienced and something I did enjoy. But it's mostly kind of honed in on the characters. The environments are isolated, but you're kind of with the character. It has the isolated kind of feeling as you're journeying through with the character, which is kind of a good contrast I found, and I really enjoyed. But the film is not going to hold your hand. It's not going to explain things to you. I think at one point when I thought the film was ending, it kind of doesn't really pull like a twist, but just kind of pulls something on you. And someone in my theater was going, huh? And I thought that was hilarious, and I don't know why I'm mentioning it. If you're the kind of viewer that needs things just explained to you, you're probably not going to enjoy The Green Knight. But if you don't mind things being a little out there, a little up to your interpretation, I think that this is a really great film to experience. There is a choice near the end, I think, of the third act, when he's about to face off with the Green Knight. That's not really a spoiler, because that's kind of what the journey is building up to, this confrontation with him and the Green Knight. The film kind of turns its look into and its color correction into kind of a green sepia tone, which I thought was kind of odd. It didn't really take me out of the film. It was just a harsh kind of change of the look of the film, and so that was a little drastic, I found, but I thought it was interesting, and that's why I'm kind of mentioning it. As far as signature scenes, there's one scene where he meets this woman, and she's in this cabin-like house, and she's looking for her head. That's all I'm going to say, but it kind of gave a very kind of horror-like aspect to it, which I really enjoyed, and a very mysterious, surreal aspect to it as well. So this isn't your typical King Arthur era medieval kind of epic film. It's very character-based. It's very much spiritual in terms of the journey you're taking with Sir Gawain, and I think that's a really good take, and I think it really stands out in terms of other films I mentioned that kind of covered the King Arthur epic that kind of features Sir Gawain in a way that is something I wasn't expecting with this film. I really wasn't sure what to expect, honestly. But overall, I really like this. I really like The Green Knight. I think it's great at portraying Sir Gawain and the different characters he encounters and the journeys that he goes through, and it keeps you invested with the adventure, the quest that he's on. Overall, I want to recommend The Green Knight, and I would rate The Green Knight 3.5 stars out of 5. I think it's solid. I didn't really receive much of an emotional kind of connection. It didn't really capture me emotionally too much, but what it did capture was mesmerizing visuals, interesting character choices, and interesting quests and a journey that's very meditative and methodical that I was not expecting, was something presented in a very unique way that this film did. But anyways, I think that's going to wrap it up over my thoughts of The Green Knight. Have you seen The Green Knight? What did you think? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Was it too slow? Or was it just perfect? Or is it one of the best films of the year? Not that we have a lot to compare to with a lot of the, standardized kind of big budget films kind of coming out. Not really getting a sense of where the good films are going to be coming out for 2021, but I really feel this should definitely be in the conversation because it's very unique. Whatever it is, feel free to let me know down there below in the comments, and please like and subscribe if you'd be so kind. Also hit the bell, that'd be swell. Oh my god, to get notified for these types of videos. Once again, my name's George Ray. I appreciate you checking out this review. Please remember to stay calm, be cool, be chill, and embrace great cinema, and I'll see you on the next one.